Sometimes the greatest pain in life does not come from poverty or failure. It comes from comparison. We look at other people's lives and quietly ask ourselves, why is their life better than mine? We compare their money, their beauty, their success, their happiness. From far away, someone else's life always looks perfect. But the truth is, every life carries a hidden struggle. And sometimes the person we envy the most is silently suffering in ways we cannot see. This is the story of a crow and a peacock. In the middle of a crowded city stood a famous zoo. Every day, hundreds of people visited it. Children laughed excitedly. Phones flashed everywhere. People gathered around one cage more than any other. Inside stood a beautiful peacock. Its feathers shined brilliantly beneath the sunlight. Blue, green, gold. People admired him with amazement. Some called him majestic. Some called him perfect. Children pointed excitedly toward his colorful feathers while cameras flashed endlessly around the cage. To the world, the peacock looked like the luckiest creature in the zoo. But high above that crowd, sitting quietly on an electric wire, was a crow. Unlike the peacock, nobody stopped to admire him. Nobody smiled when they saw him. His feathers were dark. His voice was rough. Most people chased him away whenever he came near food stalls. And every single day, the crow watched people praise the peacock while completely ignoring him. Slowly, the crow began hating himself. The crow spent his days flying across the noisy city. He saw dirty streets, smoke-filled air, lonely rooftops, and endless noise. Sometimes people threw stones at him. Sometimes children laughed at his harsh voice. The crow slowly started believing that his life had no beauty at all. While the crow wandered through dirty streets searching for leftover food, the peacock lived inside a safe golden cage where people brought him fresh fruits and clean water every single day. When heavy rain fell, the peacock stayed protected. When summer became unbearable, visitors gathered around him with admiration instead of fear. Everything about the peacock's life looked comfortable, beautiful, and perfect. And every time the crow looked at him, he felt smaller inside. Every evening, the crow sat near the peacock's cage and whispered quietly to himself, "If only I looked like him. Maybe people would finally love me too." As days passed, the crow stopped appreciating the freedom of the sky above him. He stopped noticing the wind beneath his wings. Instead, he focused only on what he did not have. One afternoon, dark clouds slowly covered the city. Heavy rain began pouring from the sky while cold winds shook the trees violently. The streets flooded quickly, and people rushed to find shelter. The crow hid beneath the broken roof of an old building near the zoo. As rainwater dripped from the roof, the crow quietly looked toward the peacock's cage. For the first time, the peacock did not look proud. He stood silently in a corner while rainwater entered through the bars of the cage. There was no dancing, no beauty, no excitement in his eyes, only sadness. The crow felt confused. How can someone with such a beautiful life look so unhappy? That question stayed inside his mind long after the rain stopped. The next morning, curiosity pulled the crow closer to the cage than ever before. The peacock noticed him watching from nearby. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. The sounds of the zoo faded into silence between them. Finally, the crow gathered courage and asked softly, "What does it feel like to be admired by everyone?" The peacock slowly lifted his eyes toward the open sky above the zoo. For a moment, he remained silent. Then he replied quietly, "Admiration is not the same as freedom." The crow did not understand those words. How could someone so beautiful feel trapped? How could someone living such a comfortable life feel unhappy? But after that day, the crow began watching more carefully. Every morning, crowds gathered around the peacock with excitement. People praised his beauty endlessly, while cameras flashed in front of him. But every night, after the zoo became empty and silent, the peacock sat completely alone in darkness. No applause, no admiration, only silence. One evening, the crow landed near the cage once again. The sky above them glowed orange as the sun slowly disappeared behind the city buildings. This time, the peacock spoke first. "Do you know how long it has been since I flew freely in the open sky?" The crow stayed silent. The peacock slowly looked toward the sky again and continued, "I cannot leave this cage. I cannot choose where I go. I cannot feel the world beyond these bars." His voice became softer. "People love my feathers, but nobody notices my prison." For the first time, the crow carefully looked at the cage itself. The golden bars no longer looked luxurious. They looked lonely. And suddenly the crow realized something painful. The peacock had everything the world admired, but not the one thing he truly wanted: freedom. That night, the crow could not sleep. The peacock's words repeated inside his mind again and again. For years, the crow had hated his dark feathers, but he had never once appreciated the sky that belonged to him. A few days later, a powerful storm struck the city. Thunder shook the sky while violent winds bent the trees. Heavy rain flooded the roads, and darkness covered the streets. Inside the zoo, animals panicked in fear. The peacock struggled helplessly inside his cage, while cold rainwater entered through the bars. No matter how hard he tried, he could not escape. Meanwhile, the crow flew freely through the stormy sky, over rooftops, over rivers, over sleeping streets glowing beneath lightning. For the first time in his life, the crow stopped feeling jealous, because while the storm terrified the entire city, the sky still belonged to him, and the peacock remained trapped behind beautiful bars. The next morning, the storm finally ended. Broken branches covered the roads while the city slowly returned to normal. The crow quietly returned to the zoo and sat near the peacock's cage once again. The peacock looked exhausted and weak. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then the crow finally said softly, "I used to hate my feathers." The peacock looked at him silently. The crow lowered his head and continued, "I thought beauty meant happiness. I thought your life was perfect." A small, sad smile appeared on the peacock's face. Then he replied gently, "And I thought freedom was ordinary, until I lost it." At that moment, the crow slowly looked up toward the endless sky above them. The wind moved gently through his dark feathers, and suddenly, for the first time in his life, he no longer felt ashamed of who he was. Days passed again. The city remained the same. People still admired the peacock. People still ignored the crow. But something inside the crow had changed forever. Now when he flew across the open sky, he no longer wished to become someone else, because he finally understood something many humans never learn. Every life carries a hidden cost. Some people have beauty but no peace. Some have money but no love. Some have fame but no freedom. And sometimes, the life we envy the most is secretly a prison. As the sun disappeared behind the city skyline, the crow spread his dark wings and flew high into the evening sky. Below him, crowds still gathered around the peacock's cage with admiration and excitement. But this time, the crow felt no jealousy, only peace. And maybe that is the lesson life keeps trying to teach us every single day. Stop comparing your life with others. Because you are only seeing the outside of their story, you do not know the battles they fight in silence. The moment you stop chasing someone else's life and begin appreciating your own, peace slowly enters your heart. Not every beautiful life is truly happy. Not every ordinary life is empty. And sometimes the greatest blessing in life is something we never truly notice until it is gone. So cherish what you have. Value the freedom, love, and simple moments that are already part of your life. Because the life you are wishing away today may be the very life someone else is dreaming of.